hidden Christ of Matthew 25. The hidden Christ. The Christ we serve when we serve others. Sacredness and stewardship, faith and justice, incarnation and kingdom judgment. The shape of the biblical foundation of what we mean by social ministry. The second source of that ministry, second source of the Catholic social vision, is the teaching of the modern papacy. For over 100 years now, the popes have, using the scriptures as a foundation, extended them. That is part of Catholic theology. Faith, seeking, understanding, Anselm said. And so the popes, seeking understanding and expanding the meaning of the scripture, began to teach us about justice, peace, human rights, and human dignity. Very often you found in the first half of the 20th century, it was interesting that the social teaching was actually not very biblical in its style or language. It was mainly philosophical. We talked not only about the sacredness of the human person, we talked about the dignity of the human person. We talked not only about justice being done for people or owed to people, we talked about human rights and human duties. Because the way you shape a society is when people's rights and duties, each person, is fully developed and integrated. So why would we turn to philosophy when we have revelation? Again, the Catholic social vision is convinced that reason and faith enhance each other. And if we're trying to build a society at any level, local, national, global, it is a diverse, pluralistic society. And so the language of philosophy allows one to talk in terms of the truths of reason. And we do that because we hope that those who do not share our faith might be persuaded by our moral wisdom. So the popes began to translate the biblical images into a language of reason that was usable in a wider society. Since the Vatican Council, the social teaching has turned back again to a more biblical presentation. We haven't left behind the philosophical, but now they're combined. That was the great gift of John Paul II. He was a philosopher by training, and so he would use philosophy and theology to talk about what the major tasks in rebuilding the world were. So we begin with the scriptures, we go to the papal teaching, and then the legacy of the Second Vatican Council. The Second Vatican Council was planned in a systematic way. And the way it was planned was they had a series of documents that they expected to produce. Document on the church, document on the liturgy, document on ecumenism, document on religious life, on the priesthood, etc. But there was no plan for a document on the church in the world. How do we build a society equal to the dignity of the person? And as the bishops went through the first session of Vatican II and talked about the church and talked about worship, at the end of 3 months of debate, a series of bishops stood up, and Montini was one of them, who would become Paul VI, stood up and said, everything we've done is necessary. We have to talk about the internal life of the church.